Alright, fuckfaces, welcome back to Practicing Beginner Roadmap Artwod. Oh, fuck me, my goddamn chair wheel is very close to the tripod. Let me move that over. I don't think that made a fucking difference. God damn it. Bruh! Probably should have accounted for this beforehand. But this is real-time video editing, as they say. Okay, whatever. I think it should be good. But yeah, welcome back to artwod Beginner Roadmap. We're doing the grind node, right? Or intro to form roadmap. What the fuck, right? The beginner roadmap, intro to form. I'm doing the grind node. Draw 20 multiple rounded boxes from imagination. Join me. If you haven't put at least 20 dedicated hours to anything in art, let this be a reason to do it, because you can do it, right? You can draw. You will be technically proficient and more, right? Aligned with your art goals when you actually put the work towards the technically proficient skills, such as spatial reasoning, the thing I'm always jizzing over, right? But what is my intent for this practice session? What my intent is for every practice session, and what I do my best to embody, and I'm going to tell you as well. We just focus on the effort, we make lots of mistakes, we tell ourselves that's a good thing, and we literally just gaslight ourselves and be like, this is fucking good, because it is good, and our brain learns better when we tell ourselves mistakes and effort is a good thing. Literally learns better. You can fucking believe me, you don't have to believe me, but it's just beneficial for you. Look up the science yourself, whatever, right? And what's it called? And to be curious, right? To see where it goes. And to think, to genuinely just fucking really think. So what am I gonna think about? Well, last time I did this, I said, well, if I'm struggling with drawing these things from memory, right? Drawing these complicated multiple rounded shapes from memory, from the bottom angle, then now we are now simply gonna start drawing these shapes from the bottom angle while ensuring that the top is still complicated, but the bottom is the simple, like as simple as we've made it, right? And then obviously thinking about it in the top perspective while drawing it from the bottom perspective. TLDR, draw something in the difficult perspective, think about it in the other alternate perspective, and then rotate it from memory in that top perspective. And we'll see how that goes. But again, curiosity is the driver. And this is great. This is going to be really fucking difficult because I have to think about what I want to draw from the top perspective before I even put down my fucking lines. So I need to have a decent idea as to what I'm going to be doing, right? Before I even do it. So let's start. And this is going to be a great way for me to practice what's it called? My the perspective that I'm the weakest in, right? This bottom angle perspective. And what is the goal and intent I always set for myself is just to make a lot of effort. You know, the mistakes are the best part of this learning journey, so I have to simply continue to internalize that I'm on the right path. And Alex Hormozy says this one thing which really resonates with me. I'm on like a binge of his content because I'm like, fuck yeah, bro, put the work in. I love that shit. I love that shit that just affirms that just keep putting the work in, keep enjoying the work, keep fucking working at it, and you know, compound effect and time will do the rest, right? And again, another skill, by the way, is I'm speaking while I'm drawing. I'm trying to make it as clear as possible for anybody who gets to any point in my videos, right? Like, no matter which video it is, that they get two things out of it. One is that when learning, you should always focus on the effort and the errors, and that helps. And two is the fact that there's always a shit ton of things to think about, and drawing is thinking, right? Don't get me wrong, the motor skills, 30%, roughly 30 to 40% of it are the motor skills, right? But that is still nowhere near, what's it called, the thinking aspect of it, right? And you can see these are gonna be really bad for a while, and that's the good thing, right? The fact that they're gonna be really bad for a while means that there's nowhere to go but up. And again, like, I'm literally trying to think of this from the top-down perspective while I'm drawing it, but as you can see, changes are occurring. You can't see the changes because they're in my mind, right? I originally had a specific idea, but then now that idea is not gonna work. But we're gonna try to figure it out and see what we can do, you know? Let's see. Yeah, drawing is thinking. Like, there's an insane amount of cognitive effort going into what I'm doing right now, and it's very difficult, and that's a good thing. Like, you want things to be difficult. If they're not difficult, then you're not really learning, and that's it. If it isn't difficult, it's boring, right? What the fuck was I saying about Alex Hormozy? I have no fucking idea, bro. Anyways, like, this is what happens when you're so focused, right? But the one thing I can say is that if it isn't difficult, it is boring. And that's just a fact, right? That's a frame too. You need to start reframing these things in your mind as like, okay, I'm actually not. Let's see. I'm trying to think right now. And again, like this is another part of art. This is why my videos aren't edited. Apart from sheer and utter laziness, is that I want it to be very clear that this is the thing. Like art is thinking, right? Like this is the part where it's not like, oh, he already knows what he wants to draw. I have no fucking idea what I want to draw. I just know that I'm trying to create something in my mind that has merit, and that's about it, right? Where do I go from here? I don't know. I just know that I want to think it through to the best of my ability, right? I already kind of fucked that up. We can maybe do something like this. Okay, I can involve plane changes, right? And I honestly need to start making these bigger because clearly these were bigger, right? So, okay, let's just stick with the one idea I had. But I just don't know where this should go from that. But maybe it's time to just... Maybe that was where I wanted to go. Because I am trying to multiple round it, but it's like an inverted multiple rounding now, right? So let's see, we have something... Because we have to think about what this shape literally looks like from the top end, right? So what does that look like? What... Oh, my throat has so much jizz in it, Jesus Christ. But what does that look like? I want to be very clear, this is difficult. This is extremely difficult. And that's already off perspective. And this is good, because like, again, I don't draw in this perspective often. Therefore, we shouldn't, the only thing we should expect is effort, and the only thing we should expect is difficulty and excess mistakes. When we expect to make lots of mistakes, and when we expect that the only thing that's going to happen out of our effort is mistakes and an increased amount of effort, it's almost impossible not to just enjoy the process, because you've already offloaded the fact that, oh shit, I'm just going to make bare mistakes, right? See, okay, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad, and that didn't go, that didn't get anywhere. That didn't go anywhere. But now I'm going to try again. I'm literally just going to keep trying again. Just like how my first multiple rounding attempts to create interesting designs literally look like this, but from the top. And now I'm creating things that are, let's say, like 10 times more complicated, right? Same thing. This is the growing pains, except it's not pain. This is where the growing occurs. So it's just the growing, right? And that's what I encourage all of you to do, is constantly keep thinking. Literally just keep fucking thinking. Obviously, right now, it is most likely for you, if you're a beginner, difficult for you to draw something in one perspective and then think about it from another perspective, right? While drawing that thing. Of course, that is extreme amounts of cognitive effort that is being expended, right? So, and it's probably beyond your Goldilocks zone of discomfort. But for me, this is my Goldilocks zone of discomfort. Why? Because I put in the hundreds and thousands of reps prior to drawing things in perspective multiple times and designing things in perspective multiple times, right? I only just started thinking about things in different perspective for the past 3 hours of practice now, 3 to 4 hours, right? So I still have 500 to go. And that's how you should be thinking. Always be thinking in hundreds. But again, like, this is crazy, because while I'm trying to think about this bottom perspective, I literally have to design it in my mind, right? So let's see. Something like that, and I have to like reverse engineer my process. Like, what do I do usually? What do? I do something like this, right? But you see how it kind of makes everything more difficult, and I have to reverse engineer that process. Again, it's going to be very simple in the beginning, right? Very simple. And the lines aren't going to be the best. It's going to be very simple in the beginning. And that's what I'm expecting to as well. Because it's hard for me from the bottom now. Like, again, because I'm thinking top down while I'm drawing bottom up. And I have to design top down while drawing bottom up, right? And thinking about how that would look from the bottom up. So very difficult. Like I can't do any of that. The word is yet. I am not able to create these interesting designs from my mind, like top down yet. But that's the thing. I have to reverse engineer my process. So like, what would I do, right? What we have to figure out what it is that I usually do in these circumstances. Right now, I'm just doing very basic rounding, but that's not what I do, right? That's not what I usually have become accustomed to. You also have to think about where these things end, you know? So if I just, and I'm gonna make this, okay, well I already made it a bit small, but maybe I can expand it out, because again, I'm drawing very small right now, which is another thing we have to essentially get out of, but for the sake of making it basic as fuck, let's do something like that. Now, what do I usually do here? Oh, well, I can do something like this, right? Where, okay, so we can definitely start thinking in terms of, okay, well, see, that's the thing, right? It's okay, that's attached. And then I can just, if I just stick it as, okay, see, that's misaligned. But now this is where I can, I believe, start, I had an idea, but then it went away, but we can start thinking in terms of, okay, we maybe have, because I have to start angling it in opposite ways, right? So, and this is not going to be good. It's very, we have to make it very clear to ourselves, none of this is going to be good. And even the angling I did was not good. But this is the growing pains, or the growing. See, I need to also be very clear with my language, because I never want to ever use make you guys or girls, whatever, my little joke. I never want anybody to feel as if it's painful to learn. It is uncomfortable, but discomfort is not pain, okay? Because pain is excruciating, and discomfort is simply friction, cognitive friction, right? And cognitive friction is a good thing. It's what allows us to get to the point. And again, that's off perspective. Okay, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna rest my brain. But again, like the biggest, okay, we have to think about what is the biggest point of friction that I'm experiencing, apart from the fact that I'm drawing from a bottom angle. It is that I'm not clearly designing in my mind, right? I'm not clearly designing something in my mind from the top-down perspective. Because I can do this right now, like literally look, without even thinking, right? I just do stuff like this, and then we do stuff like that, right? And then we can maybe have something like this. So these are the patterns I've built for myself, you know? And it's like, okay, now this is a multiple rounding, right? So clearly I do have some sort of a pattern that I dictate for myself. And even maybe we can do something like, right? So I clearly do have a pattern that I have, and obviously you see that the lines or whatever, I'm just trying to make a point, but, or this should be actually this way, fuck, this way. It's going into it. But clearly I have a pattern in which I have a proclivity towards, so, I just need to focus, the biggest focus right now is to reverse engineer how I think, and then to apply that to my designs. So I do actually, while I do draw it bottom up, I actually probably should start drawing from what I usually design and then create the bottom based on that. So still essentially drawing top down, but drawing from the bottom angle, if that makes sense, right? While thinking of the top down angle. So again, very difficult, but yeah. Let me rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. I will be back. I'll be back. All right, wunderbar. I have returned with a much reinstated something. I don't know, vigor. But let's see. Okay, because I also need to draw bigger, and I need to like I'm still figuring out design, right? So that's obviously another whole other thing as well. But let's see what I can do here. So this is the box I'm gonna put myself in. Right, and already you can see that, okay, well, this can go many ways. So I need to start thinking about how I'm going to do this in my mind's eye. And of course, drawing from this angle is difficult. And we have to, like, if we're projecting this outward and in, it's really not going to be seen as much, right? But okay, now we have this. We have to think. Thankfully, I'm already drawing a bit bigger, which I'm happy for. But we could always do more, right? I have to think, okay, where could I go from here? Okay, so we could do something like, right, and then it usually, let me think, we have to be aligned with the perspective, which I'm currently not, but we're working on it, right? So I'm trying to think of this top down, and oh, okay, I'm starting to see a little bit now what the shapes I usually draw are, right? But we also have to keep in mind the perspective. This is very difficult. It's incredibly difficult. I can't even explain how difficult it is, apart from saying it's very difficult, but I will explain actually. So while I'm drawing these perspectives, I'm literally designing from my mind, like whatever the rounding I'm doing top down. Obviously, I'm trying to problem solve the angles I want to make, the different types of rounding angles I want to make, and I'm thinking about it in a different perspective while I'm drawing it in this perspective, right? So that's very difficult, because if you break it down into the even smaller scales, it's perspective, drawing while in one's perspective, while thinking about it in a different perspective, and then designing shapes in perspective, specifically a type of rounding manipulation, all while keeping my lines clean and making sure that they're confident, which they're not right now at all, right? So just in case you thought art was easy, just in case that there was even the semblance of a thought that, like, oh, this is just, people just vibe their way into drawing good. They don't. Good artists do not vibe their fucking way into drawing well, technically, and then breaking through and finding their own voice. That's not how it occurs. Why do you think the Chinese, like, why do you think Eastern drawing schools are so fucking focused on technical proficiency? Russian drawing schools, right? Like, it's all about academics and really understanding the world and breaking it down to a fucking science, because that's literally what drawing is, right? The hashtag vibing comes during the process of technical proficiency and beyond, right? I'm not gonna say after, because I had that, right, where I was a bit stilted in my drawing ability, while trying to let's see. Yeah, I was a bit stilted in my drawing ability because I was only drawing boxes and cylinders, right? So obviously you need to break through that, but you need to focus on the fundamentals while, oh, that was an incorrect perspective. While, of course, drawing quote unquote fluidly, right? And again, I'm literally trying to think about this in a different perspective while I draw it. Extremely difficult. There you go, and then we'll have that. Okay, wait. That'll come down like this. Yeah, right? It'll be like this, and then it'll go down there. But I forgot to add the rounding. Yeah, I forgot to add the rounding. So if I'm gonna add rounding, it should have been something like this. Right? Oh, I can still do it actually. We can still round it. It won't be incredible, but I'm just trying to think. Something like that. right? And then what do I usually do? What else do I like to do if this is the type of shape I'm making? Well, I would like to do something like this, where it would be again, guys, I want to make it very clear. I'm literally designing as I'm drawing, top down while I'm drawing bottom up, right? It's incredibly fucking difficult, and I will never, ever undermine that process or that difficulty. It's very important to me. And yeah, Jean-Paul Deson, one of the artists that I met at Fan Expo, right? When I went, he's like, why is it so important? He's like, why do you need to let people know how long you've been drawing for? I'm never gonna back down on this. People need to understand how difficult it is. I was as beginner as it gets, okay? And I quit twice because I literally didn't get better in a week. 1 week of drawing fucking lines, like the drawbox lines, and I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not getting better. Are you fucking retarded? The answer is yes, because I'm a goddamn beginner who doesn't understand work ethic, right? Or just what it takes. But now that I do understand what it takes, I will never, ever undermine that process. It's just not happening. Okay? And I want to make it very clear on that. You'll never see me saying stupid shit like, oh, the fundamentals are important. Because I see artists saying that and it pisses me off. I see artists who are so proficient and they say the retarded shit like, guys, just vibe. You know, art is about a voice. Yeah, sure, find your fucking voice after or during gaining technical proficiency. Why is it one or the other? Literally, why is it one or the other? Why can't you get technically proficient while finding your voice? Isn't that what I'm doing right now? Is that not what I'm doing right now? Is finding my voice while I'm getting technically proficient? Right? Why does it have to be one or the other? Okay, see, so I'm clearly losing it here. I'm losing it, man. And it's very difficult. I want to be very clear. This is actually extremely difficult. And I'm pretty sure this rounding is incorrect that I've done here. And we could actually do something like that. Again, I'm trying my best to think about this from another perspective while I'm drawing from this perspective, but lo and behold, it is a fucking goddamn gargantuan task, and I think I'm losing the consistency of all this, right? But it's okay, we're just gonna keep trying, because that's all we can do. What is it that's in my control? Effort, right? That's the only thing in my control, is the effort I put in. And it's okay. To be honest, this is the best part. The fact that I'm struggling so much right now is an indicator of progress. Because if I wasn't struggling, that would mean I'm stagnating. And I just want to keep reinstating that to ourselves more than anything, is that the struggling is the growth, right? I want you to keep repeating to yourself that. The struggling is the growth. The struggling is the growth. I don't care if you don't believe it. The more you repeat it and the more you force yourself to repeat it and believe it, the more you will believe it. It's just a fact, right? We are what we think. I think you're gay. Please give me money. There you go. See, like, I'm figuring all of this out, and I'm trying to draw it in a different perspective, and I'm trying to keep the perspective in mind from this way while I'm drawing this way. And I've already fucked up the perspective. Let's be clear. Right? It doesn't... It's already very difficult. But I'm very proud of myself. This is already more complicated than this attempt. And I'm trying. This is all that matters, right? I'm trying. So I'm gonna rest my brain again. Again, like the whole memory drawing thing, I'm basically memory drawing right now because I'm creating a design top down. I think that's the biggest bottleneck for me, or the biggest roadblock, whatever you want to call it, is the fact that when I can create interesting designs like this, but from the bottom, while thinking about it from the top, I'll have essentially been drawing from memory, because this is the most difficult part for me, right? Like, I can design top down, but it's hard to think about it bottom up and memorize those shapes. But I would like to believe drawing bottom-up designs will make it easier to create the top-down designs from memory, or just like any angle, right? This is just, this is all conjecture. This is like, this could very well be wrong, but at the very least, I will be improving my ability to draw from a difficult perspective. I will be improving my ability to design while thinking in a different perspective. So, at the very least, I'm working on two very difficult skills that are only going to benefit me in the future. So, it's a win-win either way. Anyways, I'm going to rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. Right, that's my little call to action. Keep fucking try very, very, very hard. Make an extreme effort. Make a lot of mistakes. Enjoy them. Right. Keep telling yourself it's a good thing. Literally force feelings of pleasure. Right, from the effort, not the outcome, because I don't give a shit about this, but from the effort. And then, like, even though I say, oh, I think this looks pretty good, what I'm referring to is I think it looks good because I put a lot of effort in, right? Even these, like, I'm like, I think these look pretty good. They look like shit objectively, but they look pretty good. Why? Because I put a lot of effort in. I'm not perfect. I'll have times where I'll be expectation and outcome focused, but this is what I keep reinforcing to myself, and thereby you as well. But yeah, let's rest our brains because we put a lot of effort in. Of course, I also need to focus on drawing bigger, right? We need to have a huge focus on just actually drawing things much larger. So let's see. There you go. I actually did the same thing here, so obviously we want to avoid that. And let's see, we want to try something different. Okay, I have a vague idea for the shape I want. Let's just... Right, and then... It's very difficult, guys. I want to make it very clear. This is incredibly difficult to do. Obviously changing this up a little bit. There you go. So yeah, I struggle with that angle a lot, which is good, right? And let's see. We can, because we always want to be crossing at least 2 to 3 planes. I want to do something like this. Right, this is going to be very interesting. Right? Something like that. That looks a bit awkward, but again, I need to start thinking about the design. Right? And I start thinking about the rounding, which is going to be difficult to think about. Let's not get it twisted. Of course, when the lines are poor, the rounding looks worse. And that's just a fact. Right? So try something like this, and then we'll do something like... Yeah, we'll do something like this. Hold up. This is the thing as well. I need to start thinking about the roundings in a much more coherent way. Right? But it's good that we're at least trying to think about it at all. Because it's all in the box at the end of the day. It's all in the box. see, we can even do something like this, right? It goes through, we come out, and then we have this symmetry. And again, I'm trying to think about it in a different perspective to the best of my ability. I want to make it very clear, I'm trying, right? Am I succeeding? Who gives a shit? I'm trying, you know? The success will come with the efforts, with hundreds of efforts, with thousands of efforts, right? But the top-down attempt to create something meaningful is what matters right now. And that's all I give a shit about, is that it's the effort. Right, because I can just do something like this. There you go, look at that, I've created a rounding. And because I'm, again, trying to figure out my process, my design process, right? Which is, again, a work in progress. Man, I'm fucking spitting bars. The progress is the process, is the progress is the process. I'm a fucking genius. I just need to say that 10 more times and people will give a shit about what I have to say. But let's see, we can even try something like, something like that, which in turn oh wait, that was wrong. See, I didn't take my time to think that one through. But there you go, we can have a little rounded cylinder there. Doesn't really look like anything, but it looks enough. And we'll figure it out as we go. But again, we need more interesting rounded shapes, or multiple rounded shapes, right? So this is the part where we can, again, because I'm half and half. It's like I'm half doing it as I go, but I'm also having a general idea that I have that I want to make sure makes sense, right? So we could do something like this. And I'm trying my best to think about it from a top-down perspective. And it does need to get better. But this is good because it actually forces me and encourages me to draw bits and pieces. Like instead of how with all of these I just started and then I didn't draw the bottom and all of that. Now I have to focus on the fact that I'm drawing the bottom and then I'm drawing the top and then I'm trying to connect it and make sense of it as I go, right? So we could try something like there you go, something like that, right? And then that can lend weight to something like this. There you go. Ta-da, and then we can just round that too. Wonderful, look at that, and it crosses over planes. Right? So that's rounded, so we can just something like, again, the lines need to be better. I'm very well aware the lines need to be better, right? And again, we can even have something like that. A little rounding there. Let's see. There we go. Now we know that it crosses back. That's not bad. You know, drawing that from the bottom up, that's not bad at all. But again, we need to have clarity, right? Clarity is the most important thing, especially when it comes to drawing something from the bottom. sometimes my shapes don't even have like a proper thing to think about, so I have to think about it in that sense, like drawing it from the back or the bottom. So even I could do something similar to that, where it's, and I'll do this quite big, so we have a point of reference, right? But just doing something like this, trying to think it through in terms of, okay, well, what does that mean for the shape? You see, I'm already getting better at drawing from the bottom angle just by thinking about it, right? Even though the lines are subpar, let's be very clear on that. The lines are subpar, but now we get to think about, okay, what is even being made? You know, when we start from an angle, and this is just my reasoning, right? When we're starting from an angle that doesn't really inform the design, then we have to think, well, what is the design, right? I'm starting from the back of something, and I have to think, okay, well, now what am I creating, right? Like literally, what am I creating, and does it have merit? You know, does it have something that makes sense? Because if that's the case, if it's actually like, if I'm just making something like this, right, then it's like, oh, okay, it's now encompassing something that has quote unquote merit, right? That has a design idea behind it, you know? And now it's like, okay, well, I still have to think about what the design is. I can't just willy-nilly do something. Well, this is, again, I'm trying to break out of just only drawing the same types of shit, obviously, right? And that's where a decent understanding of design comes into play. But do I have that yet? I don't think so, right? I was gonna say who knows, but it's like, I know I don't have that, right? But even trying to think about the multiple rounding in this sense, and then this is a cutout, so we can just, or we can even round this out, right? Now, is it gonna make sense? I don't know, we're about to find out. Because how does that look like from the other end? It just kind of is shaping that, right? Maybe that doesn't make too much sense, but I struggled, and that's all that matters. I genuinely did struggle for that, and the perspective is a bit off, but I'm already getting better at designing from the bottom now, right? Because we're thinking, what is the design? Like, what are the many things being encapsulated within, through, or around each other, right? So that's just the way I'm approaching it right now. I'm gonna rest my brain. I encourage you to do so. The same. It doesn't really rhyme. But yeah, this is good, right? It's been 40 minutes, so I'm just gonna keep going. But see, I experienced great friction when I did this, but just experiencing that great fiction and understanding, doing my best to understand my own process, led to something slightly better in this, and now something where I'm like, oh, this actually starting to make sense, right? And that is always how it goes, right? It's, you experience a great amount of friction for however many repetitions is necessary to understand, right? For me, it was this very long, drawn out, intense repetition over here, which resulted in a slightly less drawn out, slightly less intense, but still, like, trying my best to design. And like, I was able to put more things in my brain when it comes to designing. And now it's like, okay, I wasn't even thinking that hard for this, but I was using this as an example for myself. And I'm like, oh wait, okay, I can start to understand how things might actually work together. And I understand maybe what I'm saying is vague. I'll try to be more specific. It's just, I try to figure out my process while, utilizing the many skills that are very difficult, like thinking about this in a different perspective. And because I kept experiencing friction, but I tried, my brain during the resting period learned a little bit, which translated to this, right? And it's like, okay, what other parts of the design can I now allocate my brain energy to? Because there's slightly less brain energy going towards just doing this, and more can be allocated towards understanding the design part, right? Right? Voice crack, right? And now after this, it's like things are starting to click, right? But what is it that I'm doing at the end of the day? Intentional repetitions, full of friction and discomfort, and enjoying the friction and discomfort, right? Pushing through. So, and it's not about pushing through and like, I'm a fucking hardcore grind type of shit. It's just I'm pushing through because this is enjoyable. I'm pushing through because this is what is actually going to create growth, right? So yeah, but I'm still figuring things out. Now I need to figure out multiple rounded bass, to be honest. I need to understand what that does. So I could start like so, right? And we're going to do something like that. See, I still really struggle with these lines when it came, because that's not supposed to be as rounded as it is, trust me. Right? So how do I convey, okay, because it's being projected outward. Let's say it's being projected out to here, and then it's shrinking. So it's like this, right? There you go. And then it's supposed to shrink drastically there. Okay. I do have an idea, so I'm gonna do my best to bring that idea to life, of course, but we'll see how it goes. Because again, now I'm still gonna try to reverse engineer things, right? Let's see. Because the bass is this. So I just need to think about this first. And again, I need to think about it top down. That's actually one thing I'm not doing, is thinking about it from a top down perspective. So we have to understand that. This is very difficult. I'm literally trying to design it in my mind from the top. And if I were to do that, it would be something like this. There you go. We obviously have to keep this a bit open for now. But and now it's already a mistake, because again, there's more things I want to do, but let's see. It's kind of coming inwards, right? So we should do something like this. And this is an attempt, let it be very clear, that was a fucked up line. This is an attempt. Probably should have made that a bit bigger, or these closer together. Like that, right? And we are going to try, what is the operative word? Try to make sense of this. Right? Try. Don't ever forget that you're trying. It doesn't matter if you're succeeding. All that matters is that you're trying to succeed, right? You're trying to move towards a specific I don't want to use the word outcome, because outcome is just going to make it sound as if, again, it's all about that result. But you're trying to work towards a specific skill set. I guess that's the best way to say it. Right? We're trying to work towards a specific skill set. I think that's the best way I can put it without fucking using the word like it's all about the goal and all that shit, right? And again, I'm really trying to think about this from a top-down perspective, and I'm failing miserably. I'll be honest. Like it's actually so goddamn difficult. I think anybody who has practiced any bit of perspective understands exactly why this is so difficult. Only those who actually don't practice at all any perspective would be the ones who would be confused as to why this has any level of difficulty, right? But it has a great amount of difficulty, and that's the fun part. Simple as that. See, I fuck this up horribly, but I'm trying to think about it, right? So see, like, yeah, it's not nothing impressive. Looks kind of meh. We're gonna move on because obviously the perspective went to shit, but we're gonna keep trying, right? So again, like, I don't think everything needs to have a base like this, right? Because a lot of my shapes here kind of have a base like that, but not really. But I think clearly the main. Oh shit! Did I move the camera? Well, I wasn't trying to, but fuck. Is it okay? I think it's okay. Okay, yeah, I think very, very clearly the main. Let me move my goddamn wheel out of the way, bro. My chair wheel is gonna hit the tripod wheel, and that's not gonna be fun. But it's crazy how how this took 46 minutes of time, right? What did I do? I did this, and this, right? Garbage. But I think the main thing is, like, I clearly have bases like these, right? Where, okay, maybe some things like this. If we look at the other ones, right? What is my common pattern here? Okay, I create roundings like this. So bases do exist. So we just need to understand the different types of bases I've made. We don't need to be limited to bases, but we can try to understand how they're created, right? So if I could do something like this, right? This is a base that I have made before. And we can go even further and just straighten it out like that, right? Now we have to understand there's something attached to this, right? And there's a multiple rounding that needs to be addressed. So because we're on the opposite side of that multiple rounding, we need to understand how exactly it's being multiple rounded, right? Like this is very subtle. There you go, something like that, right? And then we can create the things on top of it, I believe, which are the interesting shapes. So we could even try something like this, and then it's like, oh, well, then it's coming back. Like that, right? It's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere where the shapes we made actually do. And this is a great way to, I think, for me to, at the very least, understand exactly how multiple rounding works from a perspective that is uncommon, right? This isn't anything specific I'm trying to make, but it's a good way for me to practice just understanding, if that makes sense, right? Understanding how, in particular angles, how I can convey shapes, right? How I can I need to be more specific. In specific angles, how I can convey the multiple rounding from a bottom perspective in which it is not going outwards but inwards, right? Like this is a bit incorrect because this is actually going outwards, but that's what I'm trying to convey here, and it's good. It's very good that I personally believe it's very good that I'm trying this out, because let's see, because obviously it matters, but if we think about this from a top angle, though, if I do end up designing something out of this, I would want to think probably I would just, knowing me in my current patterns of designs, which I will continue to improve and break out of, because we don't want to just keep doing the same things over and over, right? We want to create different things, and we want to be inspired by different things, I know that I've usually done stuff like this, right? And again, I'm trying my best, operative word, to think about it from a different perspective, but it's very difficult. It's extremely difficult to think about this from a different perspective while I'm already drawing it in one perspective. Especially because I'm already starting to do it from a perspective that I'm not used to whatsoever, right? But I think the angle is off here. Yeah, the perspective is actually off here because it's supposed to be going this way, but this is diverging. So we're gonna leave that, we're gonna try again, right? This page is probably actually surprisingly not even gonna be filled up by the time I'm done. So the next hour that I put into this is going to be it's probably gonna be a bit of this page and then anything beyond, or maybe I should just try to speed run it, just finish this page off, right? But that's the wrong mentality to have, right? To do something super fast. But let's see, what other types of bases do I make? I've done stuff like this, right? Where it's gone out and then underneath. Well, I didn't mean to do it like that, but that was a mistake. I mean, I think actually what I could do is I could practice drawing bases from the bottom. That would actually be pretty beneficial, and it would be faster, and I'd still be able to speedrun things relatively smoothly. And it's not about speedrunning, of course, but I do have this inclination where if I'm filling up a page, I would like to do it a bit fast, like if I'm at this point. But let's actually just literally just practice bases, right? And try to ideate on as many different variants as possible, while maybe adding like one or two things to the top, right? That is something that could help out as well. So maybe something like this, right? And of course my perspective is not the best here, but okay. And then it usually, keyword being usually, so if it comes out and then I do something like this sometimes, right? So if I was just to draw the base, how would that look? Because I have done stuff like that. Okay, lines are subpar. Something like that. Okay, see, that's difficult. It doesn't make sense, so let's try again. Right, it's just, we need to establish we could even go simpler if we do that, right? And it's rounded. Remember, we're projecting an inward rounding, not an outward rounding, right? So we need to think about, okay, well, if it's an inward rounding, it's this exact same plane being projected outward, right? Let's just say fucking like this much. So technically, it would be like that, right? But if we're shrinking it, it would be like this, right? Something like that. And then you'd barely see the other side. But again, I have done really weird bottom planes before. I've done ones where it's come like this. Oh yes, I've done ones where it's like this. Okay, so we have this. Hold up. This needs to be bigger, obviously. That's another thing. I really need to make these a lot bigger, because my shapes in general are usually a lot bigger, right? I've done things that have there you go. I've done stuff like that before. This isn't really about finding out anything new. This is just about ensuring what I am doing is consistent with the designs I can make. Right. I've done stuff like that before. Yeah, and then there's just like shit coming out of that. Let's keep trying, because again, we have to think about like what, look how big and rounded that base is. So if we try something like that, where it's okay, perspective's a bit off, but it's okay. That was a bit more intuitive than I wanted it to be. Right? Now, let's just say it's projecting inward as much as that is. What does that look like? Right? It's going up, but it's projecting so inwards. You know? Is it just super... Maybe, but I need to figure that out a little bit more, right? Let's just keep doing this. This is great. I know I'm making a lot of errors. That's the best part, right? So again, if I have... We'll try to make these a bit bigger as I go on. Right? Perspective is a bit off. It's actually pretty decent. Actually, is it? No, it's pretty decent actually. But is it just a matter of... Because if I'm trying to think about it from the other perspective, it does get a bit garbled. Because it is... I need to round inwards, right? If this is... Let's just say, for example, I have a base, and then I'm really rounding outwards, like that, right? On the opposite end, how do we convey depth if literally it's like this on the other side, right? Or I should have done a dotted. Yeah, how do we convey depth when it's like this? I guess we don't. Is that just the answer? We don't convey the depth, right? Is it the item on top of it that's going to convey the depth? So if I had a multiple rotted cylinder, like, or a tapered cylinder, I guess, is it just going to be, okay, well, we have something like this. It's like it's sticking out. I guess I'll make it a bit bigger. It's like, okay, we have something like that. It's just sticking out of it. It seems like it, right? It seems like it. I'm just thinking out loud. Because again, if I do something like that, right? To convey the fact that this is crossing into like that, it's going diagonal like that. Can't really do it, can I? Or at the very least, it'd have to be... Oh, it'd have to be like this. I see. Something like that. Ah, there you go. That shows that it's tapering inwards. So, at least I think it does. Yeah, it's rounding inwards. So, if I were to... And this is good. I'm glad I'm practicing this skill because I'm just trying to figure things out. Right, it would be something like this. There you go. And then, but what would this be like? Oh, that would also be tapered inwards. So it would be something like this. Right? I was like, okay. Obviously this should have been much longer, because then the depth is, or these should have matched the length of this, or this should have matched the length of these. Because otherwise now it's kind of, or maybe it's just like pushing out more at the back. But now it's like, okay, we can start creating things. Like, okay, if that's how it's located, then we know that possibly, let's see, something that's like that, and then this, and then comes out like so, right? And then has a, I don't know, fucking attachment like that. Right? We can literally start doing the design, I think, right? Okay. My stomach's grumbling. My friends are coming over to celebrate. My other group of friends are coming over to celebrate my birthday today. So, well, it kind of works, kind of doesn't. But yeah, so I'm not eating because I'm My girlfriend said, "Oh, make sure you're not eating too much, right?" So I'm assuming we're going to a buffet because they all know I fucking love eating, them all the meat buffets, right? Okay, let's keep trying this, and let me actually start adding like one design element. Yeah, I think I'll keep drawing this, but adding one design element, and I'm gonna try to think top down, still. So something like this, which I need to work on, to be honest. There you go. And then yeah, I could do something like that, or it's like, well, it's like super rounded, right? It's like, okay, we know this rounding is going inwards for sure. And then if I want to think about the top, then I could do something like, it's like starting here because it's rounded inwards. It's like literally right here, right? And I can be like, okay, well, if there's something here, then it would be now. This is very difficult. I want to make it very clear. Even this is very difficult, right? But hey, we're getting something across, which is good. Yeah, and then I guess this is where my little again, if this is rounded, it should be a bit more clear that it's rounded. Let's see, we can even have this go a little bit more because obviously it has to meet that in there, because now I need to start thinking about the base and what does the base look like, right? Yeah, my stomach's really fucking grumbling. Jesus. Figuring it out, obviously still figuring it out, but not bad. Not bad at all, Vagu. Not bad at all. But yeah, this clearly needs like another fucking 20 hours minimum, because I actually lost the ability to design from top down. Not lost the ability, but I haven't been doing that for the past 20 minutes, right? So that just comes down to me not thinking about what it is that I'm designing. But if I do try, operative word being try, right? And I give it the rounding that I think would work. I think I can still create something decent based on things I've been trying before. But again, like designing something while thinking about it from the top is never going to be something that I'll say is like easy or anything, because I've already proven evidently that it's not, right? So I can't lie, and there's no point in lying, and it's like so hazy too. I think it comes down to intent as well. If I know my intent, I know that the design will make a lot more sense, right? And then if I could do something like that, or just juts out, a bit of a cone rounding, I guess you could call it. But yeah, this doesn't really make a sense anymore. Again, it's so hard to design something in your mind while you're drawing it, right? I do believe I made a lot of progress in trying to figure out the bases and trying to create something, but this doesn't even count for the fact that we still have hinges to think about, right? And how does that play into this? we have to think about the for once I'm going to do an outward rounding just to see where it takes me for the base, right? And hinges are a whole different story where I have to think about, okay, well, do I want anything wrapping around it? What is it that I'm trying to create as I draw, I guess? And again, trying to think about this from the top down fucks the brain. Really sticks its fucking dick inside of it. And this also just comes from trying to understand hard surface, right? So that doesn't really look like anything. Honestly, it's pretty shit, but it's okay. Yeah, my brain is hurting a lot. Don't get me wrong. I wish I could do more of this today, but this might be my only drawing session because my girlfriend's gonna be pulling up in the next hour, 40 minutes, and then my friends will be there like hours later. But I'm gonna be with her. I'll probably honestly keep practicing this. So okay, yeah, like full transparency, because I do bring my sketchbook everywhere I go, or like, and so I will most likely be practicing this for at least an hour outside of this session. So full transparency, okay? When I come back to this, if you're like, oh shit, he's already doing it a decent amount better. By decent amount, I mean 5-10% better, right? It's because very likely I'll have put another 40 minutes to an hour into it, if not more, right? If I haven't, I'll obviously be transparent again and be like, I haven't. But again, watch me become great, but also demystifying the journey to greatness, but also art progress channel, right? So everything needs to be very clear. This is the shit, by the way. This is like literally the shit. Like today's session was the quote unquote the shit, in the sense that like the garbage one produces, right? The many mistakes. Again, the master has failed many more times than the student has tried. I'm no master, but I'm on my journey, right? When I'm 80, I'll be looking back and being like, these are the drawings that made me the artist that I am, not these, right? These were, although these did as well. What the fuck am I saying? Like, obviously these are part of it, but the shittier drawings were the path to the more proficient drawings, right? So never forget that. The shit drawings you make with intent, with the best of your ability to not make mistakes, but still making lots of mistakes and enjoying those mistakes and the effort, are the drawings that are making you better, right? If you're just dicking around, you're drawing like fucking garbage, right? And you're not learning anything, then no, you're not learning anything. Those are not the drawings that are making you better, right? Fucking half-assed mileage is not the mileage. It's not like any mileage is good mileage. Intentional mileage, full of effort, is the mileage that's going to make a difference. So as long as you made an effort to the best of your ability, and even if you felt like, just like I did right now, that I could have done more, just like I did yesterday when I did my imagination drawing, part 29, check it out, right? When I was drawing like the aisles and shit with the grocery store, everything falling out, just like I have felt many times I could have done better, but I've never gone out of it and been like, I didn't put an honest effort in, because I did. I always do my best to put an honest effort in, and as long as you're continuously doing that, you will become a fucking top tier artist. But also granted, you practice the right things, because there are right things to practice, and I'll die on that hill. Again, when I'm 80, I'll be like, ew, just vibe it out, because fucking when you're 80 and you're like Kim Jong-il or Peter Han and you have fucking 10, 20, 30, 40 years of experience like any really good artist, they'll say shit, because they'll have forgotten the journey. They'll have really, a lot of the times, forgotten the difficulty that it took to get them there, and they'll undersell how hard it was and how much shit there was. So here is me not underselling it. Both in my words and in my actions and in the next 500,000 videos that I'll put out, i.e. 500,000 hours, all right? Always chase discomfort, because that's where the growth lies. And with those inspirational words, I don't know, my voice cracked. I was trying to go like high pitched, but also it just didn't work out. But with those inspirational words, as always, fuck you for drawing, fuck you for watching. I fucked that up. Fuck you for watching. God damn it, bro. Okay, well, yeah, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing. Please give me money. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands anymore. Just goodbye.